Lane Kiffin set to join us, the Ole Miss head coach. He'll be in Tuscaloosa this weekend against Alabama. You know, before I talk about that matchup, Coach, I saw where Michael Wilbon said something on Pardon the Interruption, where he was calling you out, saying you hadn't done anything, called you a clown, and you did respond to him a little bit. So where did this come from? What happened with you and Michael Wilbon?
Yeah, it's interesting for a guy that I've never met. So, um, I someone sent it to me. I thought it was kind of like I was like, wow, that was pretty aggressive. I thought that was kind of more like a chat room or a Tennessee fan or something like that. Would say not a national media member. So, and then people were like, "Did you do something wrong to this guy?" I was like, "I never met him, so whatever." I'm sure it increased his ratings or something.
But do you engage with people who are critical of whatever you've done? I mean, how often does this happen? I know Michael was on Pardon the Interruption, but how often do you engage back and forth?
I usually don't. I just said something on Twitter just because it was so aggressive, just to kind of, I've been in a Twitter mood here the last 2 years, and our people love it, our recruits love it. So I just sent something off dealing with it.
Why is game day not going to be at your game with Alabama?
I don't know. I thought they would, but going to Athens.
What? But what do they expect is going to happen in Athens, or what did they expect was going to happen in Tuscaloosa?
I don't know. I don't know how that works. Maybe they've been to Tuscaloosa a million times and didn't want to go back or something. I'm not sure.
I love the fact that you were telling people, stop upsetting Nick Saban. Like, don't say these things, he's got issues with his team. How good is that team of the recent teams that Nick has had?
It's great. And like I said, cherry picking didn't mean a negative thing. It just meant, okay, hey, go take the best people, that are out there and fill them, like free agency in the NFL. And, it is a crazy setup because they basically picked first with all the 5 stars in the draft. And now they got free agency on top of it to go grab a great receiver or a great middle linebacker, if you have a small hole. So now maybe we're at times over the years there was 1 or 2 holes there. Now there's nothing.
But do you think you played a role, or how much of a role, that it felt like opened Nick's eyes to a whole different offense here? Now they're getting that quarterback. They're getting those wide receivers, whereas they used to just get offensive linemen and running backs.
Yeah, I do think that I didn't open his eyes. I just think our success in going faster and having bigger stats offensively. I mean, I know what it was like recruiting against him, at Tennessee or USC. You weren't going to get a defensive player away from him for the most part. You weren't going to get, like you said, a lineman, running back, but, quarterbacks and receivers, you could say, okay, you're going to go there and be a game manager. You're not going to have many catches. Julio Jones, one of the greatest of all times, had like 70 or something. And so then when we go there and Amari Cooper has 128, that really changes how you can not just recruit locally, but nationally. And then you see Najee Harris come from California and Tua, come from Hawaii. And, I think it just opened up a pipeline that now I got to deal with it here at Ole Miss and play them. Here's Bryce Young from California.
How much film do you watch of Alabama?
A lot. Defensive side, a little bit offensively, but you can't do all of it. But we watch a lot of it. We know defensively what they usually do. They don't change a ton. But yeah, we watch a lot.
But what do you tell your quarterback? What do you tell Matt?
Nothing different than any other game that we play. You got reads. You got to take care of the ball. This game, different than most games, you just got elite players everywhere. 31, the defensive end. I bet whenever he's eligible a year from now, will be the first pick of the draft type of guy. So, you don't have very long with the ball. The windows are really tight. It's more like an NFL game. That's what it looks like when you're watching them, like obviously NFL players, but in the NFL, there may be a hole and it closes really quick. You don't have a lot of explosive plays. And that's what it's like.
Who does your quarterback remind you of?
I mean, I'm going to say this, and he's not Patrick Mahomes, but the release points and the arm angles, his ability to throw what 99% of the world can't. is really special.
When did you know you had something special?
Well, we didn't have spring with him. We had like some workouts and just see him throwing the deep ball right away. I said I didn't know how well he could think, how well he could move at that time, but I knew the guy had an elite arm strength. And so to do what he did last fall, and most yards I think in the country without a spring in a new system, says a lot about him.
Talking to Lane Kiffin, the Ole Miss head coach. He's got Alabama coming up on Saturday. Then you host Arkansas. Then you're at Auburn. What was it like when you couldn't coach your team against Louisville in Atlanta? What are you allowed to contribute on game day?
Yeah, you can't once it starts. I was in every Zoom, every meeting, even the pregame meal, via Zoom, that stuff. But once it started, you are not allowed, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why can you be in a press box, but you can't be on a headset, talking to them when you have COVID? But it is what the rules are.
How bad was it?
It was painful because you're watching TV and it's delayed a few seconds, and you're just not in control, which is very hard for head coaches. You got no control.
No, I meant the illness.
Oh, I gotcha.
I wanted to start with the serious thing. What?
I had like 2 bad days, but that was about it. I'd been vaccinated, which I think helped a lot. And then whatever that IV thing they put in you, some long name that I can't remember, that helped a lot.
How much NFL do you watch now?
I don't really any. I don't know how you can as a coach. You're just every Sunday you're in here getting ready for the next opponent.
Yeah, but I just wonder, are you, and you've talked about this before, we've talked about this, that the NFL is taking from college, not the other way around. But can you see things? So there was nothing you could see on a Sunday in the NFL that you could say that's applicable to my team, or my quarterback or my coaching staff.
It's backwards now. Like we've discussed, we used to do that. We used to have our guys cut up, cut up these different routes and these different things, from the Chiefs or whatever the hot team was. And, we do it a little bit in the off season, but not like you used to at all, because it's really backwards. They're a couple years behind us, and you watch the Chiefs, they're now running the plays we were 3-4 years ago.
Do you have a scripted answer? So when you're asked about, would you be interested in USC? Like, do you get together with the sports information director or PR people and say, all right, let's just come up with a nice paragraph here? Do you already have that?
I do not, but I can think. This is the first time I've been asked, so I can think of one quick. I've been doing this a lot of years.
Okay, let me ask the question there.
Sure.
Coach Kiffin, are you interested in going back to USC?
I'm fully committed to where I'm at. This is a wonderful place. I love the people here, and anytime that we get attention like that, it's just a credit to our players and what they're doing.
Coach, is there unfinished business at USC?
No, I don't even think that way, Dan. I'm just totally focused on our program here.
How do you feel whenever you're on the tarmac, Coach?
Interesting, Dan. I was on the same tarmac and walked through the same FBO this weekend when I went recruiting in LA, and it was very eerie. Same exact one, and there was a little office there to the right when you walk through the private airport, which is where Pat Hayden walked me in at 3:17 a.m., and so that was a little bit strange.
So you walk by the office where you got fired?
Yes, it was actually just a little coffee room that was in the private airport there.
Is there a chalk outline of you or anything there?
That's kind of funny. No, they don't really care in play. Nobody even knows football or coaches, any of that stuff.
I respect you can laugh about it.
Sure. Everything happens for a reason. And, you never would have went and worked for Nick Saban had that not happened.
That's true. And, this has become sort of that stopover place for coaches who almost need to revitalize their careers. I mean, is Nick taking in people and knowing that that's what he's helping them with?
Yeah, I think there's 2 sets. I think there's, the ones he bring in that help him, and, and he helps as well, that are offensive coordinator, that are coordinators. And then there's some he brings in, off the field as analysts and stuff like that, just to kind of restart them because they're, down and out, or they're still under contract somewhere. So I think there's kind of 2 sets with that.
It's great to talk to you. Have fun. And can you have fun in Tuscaloosa?
You can have fun if you win.
Well, have fun in Tuscaloosa. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
All right, Dan. Have a good weekend.
That's Lane Kiffin. I didn't know where we were going with the tarmac question.